Hello and welcome to ILTV's Israel Daily. I'm Aaron Porras, and coming up in today's newscast, the United States National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan arriving in Jerusalem. Riots break out meantime at the airport in Tel Aviv following the latest COVID updates. And finally, just in time for the Christmas holiday weekend, the sounds of Jesus' birthplace, but from some 800 years ago. Landing in Israel late on Tuesday, United States National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan beginning his round of meetings with Israeli and Palestinian leadership. Discussions centering primarily on Iran and, quote, several additional issues of joint interest to both countries. Welcoming U.S. President Biden's aide to Jerusalem, Prime Minister Naftali Bennett extending warm praise for the strong Israel-U.S. relationship, and this ahead of an open and candid discussion regarding shared challenges. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan having already met with President Herzog on similar topics, a heavy focus on nuclear negotiations in Vienna opposite Iran.
These days are pretty important. What happens in Vienna has profound ramifications for the stability of the Middle East and the security of Israel for the upcoming years, and that's why it's such a timely meeting.
At a critical juncture for both of our countries on a major set of security issues, it's important that we sit together and develop a common strategy, a common outlook, and find a way forward that fundamentally secures your country's interests and mine. And we believe those interests, like the values upon which our countries are built, are deeply shared and deeply felt.
Israel and the U.S. continuing to disagree on the best approach, however. The United States becoming increasingly impatient with Tehran, but still saying that the Ayatollahs have some weeks left to revive the deal amidst their current pace of nuclear advancement. Israel, on the other hand, long advocating for scrapping the deal altogether and returning to a policy of heavy, targeted sanctions and military and cyber warfare. Meantime, while the focus, Iran not the only topic. Sullivan also discussing efforts to renew ties between the Palestinians and both Jerusalem and D.C., as well as ways to return to two-state negotiations, and the official heading to Ramallah towards that aim. The PA only recently restoring formal ties with the United States after a 4-year boycott in light of the Trump administration's recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's state capital. Relations still cold, though, with Washington unable to reopen the U.S. consulate to the PA in Jerusalem as per Ramallah's request. Additionally, PA Chairman Abbas calling on the U.S. to stop Israel from expanding settlements, from evictions in Jerusalem, and from deducting funds from tax returns to Ramallah. But Israel's withholding equal to what the PA pays in salaries to terrorists and their families, and the United States likewise pressuring the PA over its continued so-called pay-for-slay policy. So as National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan tours the Middle East, will his trip be purely superficial, or can some substance actually be reached? Joining with the analysis is President of the Jerusalem Institute for Strategy and Security, Professor Ephraim Inbar. Professor, thanks so much for joining us again. Now, can you tell us a little bit more about Sullivan's plan for his visit to the Middle East, and again, how that relates to my title question, whether or not this trip will have some substance to it, or if it'll basically just be more repeating of certain rhetoric and then going on with our days.
I don't think that there are any new American positions. The National Security Advisor was sent to Israel in order to babysit us, in order not to do something that they don't want us to do. The National Security Advisor continued his lines that they are committed to diplomacy, and everybody knows that diplomacy with the Iranians is not enough, and the Vienna talks are stuck, and the Americans speak that there are maybe a few weeks left in order for them to make a decision, but I doubt that this type of very soft diplomatic language of the United States at this stage will do the trick to bring any substantial change in the Iranian position.